Kyle Busch Motorsports. Kyle Busch, who won his record-extending 7th NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series Owner Championship. Tonight, he won it in the 51 truck with the driver, Christian Eckes, who will be part of the program next year. And maybe we'll start there. Had an exciting announcement the other day that Christian will be in that truck next year. How is it that you continue to find these outstanding, talented drivers that continue to climb up the NASCAR ranks?
I don't know. We just keep trying, keep doing. Obviously, with the amount of support and everything that we've got from Toyota and TRD and those guys, it's really an opportunity of a lifetime to have a Truck Series team and as competitive as we do, especially with the amount of workforce that we do with Rudy Fugle and Mike Hillman, as well as Marcus Richmond, excuse me. I'm thinking Chandler Smith. But overall, just everybody works so hard at the shop, and they do such a phenomenal job, especially Rudy, of being able to lead and really keep our program on top and on the next level of superstardom, and being able to continue to help these young drivers along and being able to get them to the next level. So obviously we know Harrison's moving up for next year, and we've got Eckes coming on board for full-time, and Rafael Assard as well too. So really excited about those two guys joining our program and having an opportunity to go out there and try to win some races and continue on up through the ladder.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start up here with Reed, go to Jacob and Greg.
Spencer with NASCAR Wire. Obviously, the pit call was critical to getting the third place finish and securing the Owners' Championship, but were you impressed with the way Christian was able to stay out front there on the old tires for as long as he did? Yeah,
absolutely. I thought they ran a great race, and Rudy's one of the best at being able to execute some pit calls and some strategies throughout any sort of race. We kind of seen that a little bit earlier this year as well with Biffle at Texas, and myself in a few instances as well. So, he's no dummy. That's why he's won this Owners' Championship for us at least 4 or 5 times. I know Eric Phillips was a couple of those times, so it's pretty special to be able to continue to do that. And Rudy's awesome. But Eckes did a really good job of running a smooth race today and being able to keep ourselves in position and not getting too flustered throughout the event, and come home with a solid third place finish. Will get him some really good feedback and some good notes for what he needs to do here next year. Well, we don't come here for a championship race, but you get my point.
Jacob
Seelman, Speed Sport. Kyle, to follow up on your comments about Christian, do you feel like he maybe, I don't want to say proved the whole point, but at least proved a little bit of something tonight with being able to run right in the mix with those championship 4 guys going into his full-time season? Yeah, definitely. He ran a good season in the ARCA series and was able to come out champion over there. So he's gotten some good experience at the 1.5 miles, and he's gotten some good experience at Pocono and Talladega, Daytona. So he's been on some of those bigger speedways. I wasn't sure how he would run here. Given Homestead is kind of unparticular of 1.5 miles, if you will. So obviously he took to it real well. I know him and Rudy worked really hard on being able to come here with a good baseline and some good notes of what the last couple years have been with that truck here, with winning the race and the Owners' Championship for us with William Byron, and then last year being oh so close with Noah. And so it's been to where I feel like we've got a good baseline here, but I haven't raced here in such a long time. I really don't have a full understanding. And I know, obviously, a lot of the attention goes to the Drivers' Championship, but as a team owner, for you and really to the organization, what do these Owners' Championships do for KBM as a team, and what do they mean to you? Well, I think it shows our depth. I think it shows our ability of being able to go out there and still be successful no matter how many different drivers we have behind the wheel of our trucks. And this year, for instance, on the 51, you've got Christian Eckes, Brandon Jones, Alex Tagliani, Greg Biffle, Chandler Smith, a Herbst kid from Vegas, and some idiot who drove 4 races named Busch. So, it's pretty awesome to have Rudy and those guys to do such a good job with that many different drivers, and to go out there and get solid finishes with many of them. Tag finished second, Biffle won, Herbst was third.
I think Chandler was best finished a third. Jones was second. Eckes, I think he got a second or a third today, obviously. So, they were all successful in that truck.
Go to Greg.
Greg Engel, Auto Week. Congratulations on this. And I guess that's your key is you're talking about Rudy and all them taking all, helping with the team. Because how much pressure does this team, running this team, put on you as a driver? Because obviously, it takes away, from what you need to do on the track for your own self and your own career. Is that the key, is having those guys in place to help take some of that pressure off? Because obviously you got a winning combination.
Yeah, it is. Years ago when we started it, there was some different personnel around and stuff like that, and Rudy came along, and Rudy kind of grew into the system, and Rudy understood the system when those other guys went off on different ways. And so Rudy handles a lot of the day-to-day, but all the crew chiefs do. They all are in charge of their own teams, Hillman and Richmond, as well as Rudy. And then you also have Wes, who does a really good job of handling the shop and all the shop guys and whatnot that he does. And the ability of just being able to orchestrate a lot of stuff behind the scenes, as well as our CFO, John Fuller, who is really, really in charge of being able to make sure that we keep the crew chiefs in line with spending, because we know money buys speed, and those guys can certainly spend money, especially when it's not their own. I've learned that really, really well in this business. Just like I want to spend Joe's money, So having the driver's side of things and also having the ownership side of things gives you a really good perspective as to what this sport brings. And so it's very interesting, all those dynamics. But I wouldn't say that I take a whole lot of time away from my real job. I try to focus 99.5% at least on that, and allow the guys at KBM to do a good job of what they're good at. Yeah, thanks.
All right, we have time for two more for Kyle. We'll go to Jordan, then Jim, and then we'll take some questions for Ross.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This is actually for both of you gentlemen up there. What is your opinion on a driver winning a championship in this format without it winning a race during the season?
They did what they needed to do under the format, the way that the format's out. The way that it is. We almost saw it here in 2014 with Ryan Newman. I guess he was going to win the race if he beat Harvick. But, yeah, it's just points do still matter, which I think is to a lot of the fans' dismay of this format. You still have the format of old with points matter all through the season. So it's a good blend of what the playoffs used to be when they had the 10-race stretch. I remember being in the 10-race stretch and having 2 bad races and being done, like gone. It didn't matter what you did through the first 26 races. Now you have a good blend of the whole season, and each race actually does matter, but it most matters in this one.
Same thing. I mean, he did what he had to do.
We'll wrap it up with Jim.
Jim Hunter, Motorsport.com. Kyle, you mentioned Greg Biffle. Matt Swin was the first for a Ford driver since Biffle won his title in 2000. How cool was it for you to have him contribute a little bit towards the 51's owner's title this year, which kind of was started on a whim and actually ended up being a sizable contribution?
Yeah. How many points did we make it into the Final Four by, do you know? Because what? Yeah. Like, did we make it by less than 5 points? Because it would have been Biffle's points, right? That got us in? It was only 1 point. Yeah. So anyway, Biffle's win got us into the playoffs. So, because my wins mean nothing. So obviously, I was pretty smart in that selection in going to Texas. Didn't have a driver and just decided that an old retired guy might actually be able to get the job done, and he did. So hats off to Biffle and being able to win that race for us. He did a really good job. And, obviously excited about the opportunity to go race for another Owners' Championship this year and to be able to come out on top. It was weird how we were looking at the driver lineups, and when we were coming down to the final of the season, and we were like, well, Eckes is going to be our guy. And I'm like, Eckes is going to be our guy? But he did a good job executing today and just ran a great, smart race and kept us in position, the position that we needed to. But thanks to all the drivers that I mentioned, without them and their ability to score points for us and get us to where we needed to, it wouldn't have been possible. So they all did a good job.
All right, thank you so much, Kyle. Congratulations
Thanks.
on the record.